This takes place in Mexico, and there's three parts to it. One is what I knew before hearing one of my uncle's stories, second my uncle's story, and third a legend I found later on that's similar to what happened on my uncle's story and to the events I heard about the lake that left me thinking because it seems like everything connects. It was while I was leaving in Mexico from 2004 to 2007, I was 13 to 16 years old. In the town I was leaving there's a lake on some hills that people go to do barbecues and hang out with family. But one of the things that caught my eye was the white crosses that were all around the lake. I asked family and friends in different occasions that what were the crosses for, and they told me it was for the people that have drowned there. I was stunned because it was a lot of crosses. I was thinking that maybe they didn't know how to swim there, or the majority of people got drunk and got into the lake. But my cousins and friends told me stories that actually people that drowned there were fine. It was just people going out for a swim and started drowning. Supposedly some of them yelled that something was pulling them down. I thought maybe it was branches they got caught on. But what was weirder to me was that when I asked my aunts and uncles, they added more to those drownings, telling me that not all the bodies could be recovered. That was weird to me because the lake is kind of big but not that big for people not to be found. There are two rivers that connect to that lake, one that goes into the lake and the other one where water can leave the lake, but there's a border dividing it from the lake. It's tall enough for water not to escape, but people can go over it with ease. One of the stories of people who drowned was that they were able to recover his body, but he was purple by the time they found him with slash marks across his chest and stomach area. That left me intrigued if it was actually true or people just trying to add on to the lake incidents. Being a teenager, I couldn't go around asking questions. And to be honest, I haven't remembered to ask when I visit now. I just started posting on here and wanted to post my stuff. My uncle's story. After knowing I was asking a lot of questions about what was going on with the lake, he told me something that happened to his friend when they were teenagers. He said that his friend had invited him to go fishing at night because that's when fish are easier to catch since they get close to the edge. He told him no because my grandma had grounded him. Later that night after midnight, my uncle heard banging on the door, and the doors out there are made of metal, so it shook them pretty bad. My grandma and uncle got up and my uncle went up to the door and opened a little window on the door to see who it was. It was his friend, wide-eyed and pale. My uncle asked him if he was all right, that it looks like he just saw a ghost, and my grandma told him to bring him inside. They sat him down and calmed him and were asking what had happened, that where was he coming from. He told them that he ended up going to the lake alone on his bike with his gear and was camping it out there hoping to get some fish, but after a couple hours that he wasn't having luck, he decided to leave. He was on the other side of the lake, so he had to go around, and it was a bright night, so he was able to see well the dirt road. He was going around the lake when he saw something coming out of the other side where he was going to pass, but he didn't pay that much attention to it, thinking it was a turtle or a big iguana that roam around those parts. They grow like 3 feet long and are dark instead of green. So, he was riding along looking over to see this thing coming out in all fours, and he saw how its wet skin was shining due to the moonlight and saw how it had like a reptilian tail but short. The best he could describe it was like if it was a stump of a tail, but it was pointy and really wide, almost as wide as its body, he said, and couldn't tell if it had a neck, it just looked stocky from its upper body. He was just looking at how this huge lizard just came out of the lake when all of a sudden it stood upright on its rear legs. That's when he got really scared, because he was able to tell that it was big. He estimated it was 2 meters tall, 6 feet 7 inches. He made a noise and this thing turned around and looked at him. It had big red eyes. To be able to tell they were red from his distance, he knew they were big. He was like 20 meters away, 65 feet. He started pedaling hard with all his fear, because to top it all of, this creature was downhill from the only road that leads him out of the lake, and it was just staring at him, following him with its stare. As soon as he was parallel to the creature, he gunned it down the road and didn't look back at all until he got to my grandma's house, which was closer than his house, just 5 minutes away from the lake on bike. He stayed over and left the next day, still shocked. Town legend El Chavarin. I came across this legend a few months after my uncle told me his story, and left me stunned because it was too much of a coincidence with everything I had heard by then. The legend takes place in Ameca, Jalisco, Mexico, and it's about a fisherman named Lucio that was struggling to provide for his family and made a deal with the devil. He found gold soon after, but got paranoid with time and thought his family was just with him for the gold. Since the day he had made the deal, he was always carrying around a snake, so one day he took his gold and snake, and the people in the town saw him jump over a bridge into the river and never saw him again. Legend goes that he got transformed into this lizard-like monster, big, scaly skin, big yellow eyes, small tail, and he is the cause for people drowning in that river and the waters that connect to the town's rivers. The town I was living at is only 30 minutes away from there. I tried attaching a drawing I made of the creature, of how I saw it, in the booklet I read, but couldn't, so I'm going to post them on my profile for those who want to check it out. It's going to be a picture of that and pictures of the bridge that he supposedly jumps off, and of the lake where my uncle's friends saw the thing.